Alright, yet another Scrimcast here, as we've got Twisted Fusion back for more here, with a game up against Sjolopimperne, I believe. I think that's their actual full thing. Yeah, I have no idea what that means, but whatever. Decent enough name. Both of these teams mid-tier oriented, as I believe Sjol made it to the round of 32 in the CIC qualifiers, maybe even the round of 16. I don't remember exactly how far they got, but they definitely participated in the qualifiers, and we've seen the name, I believe, for a couple of times off and on. So looking to give Twisted Fusion a bit of a game here, 2-game scrim series. This is game 1, and the bans are out. So far we have Kronos and Rhapsody being taken out by Twisted Fusion, and Puppet Master and Drunken being removed by the Hellborn side. So 4 heroes that we see a lot of, and 4 heroes that are all generally very well regarded by the competitive scene, so nothing particularly surprising by any of the bans. So far, Legion side has started out with Wretched Hag and Pestilence. A little interesting there. Obviously, Hag, not a super surprising first pick, very versatile, can do a lot of stuff, so really doesn't pigeonhole you in terms of what you can do later on in your draft. Definitely a solid hero to start out with, especially if Drunken's banned, and so is Rhapsody. Pestilence, though, a hero that we used to see all the time and don't so much anymore. I'm not really sure why. It doesn't seem like the nerfs that he took were substantial enough to destroy his ability to be in the competitive scene, to be a viable hero. He still seems like a really powerful hero to me. It's just teams aren't picking him up so much for whatever reason. They are picking up heroes. They're largely similar, though, in Pebbles, Meraxis,
Master of Arms.
I guess even Magnus to some extent, all heroes that we see fairly often, and yet are not substantially better, or in some cases better at all, in my opinion, than Pestilence. Nonetheless, he is picked up here. Master of Arms will be their 3rd selection, so likely going to be seeing a support master there, and paired with Pestilence in the middle lane. So right now I would suspect we're looking at a solo bot Hag, Pesty, and Master of Arms in the middle lane. So we're likely looking for either a jungler or a second support. I'm leaning towards the jungler option at this point, as well as a suicide hero. And we'll see what they choose to go for in the second rounds of picks. Hellborn, meanwhile, have picked up Torture, Rally, and Swiftblade. So Torture and Swiftblade, I think, making plenty of sense, likely to be paired up in that top lane. Rally, I'm not a huge fan of. I just don't feel like he brings enough to the table. Relatively versatile hero, so that's nice, but just not good. So it's nice when you can play a bunch of different roles, but it's a bit more problematic when you can't really do any of them well, and that's sort of where I feel like Rally fits in. But we'll see what Sjol can do with that hero. Bans are finished now, as Tempest, Dr. Repulsor, and Bubbles are removed by the Legion side. So taking out the Tempest, and that leaves only the Parasite, as well as various non-traditional junglers, Keeper of the Forest, Legionnaire, available. So we'll see if Twisted Fusion actually goes the jungle route. The initial ban on Tempest makes me think that no. At the same time, over here on the Hellborn side, they have banned out Kraken, Ophelia, and Solstice, so realizing that the Legion side really works well, I think, with the jungler, and we'll see if they choose to go for the Parasite route, maybe even Keeper of the Forest. Plague Rider will be the selection here. Still has option to be a Suicide, of course, and so does Wretched Hag for that matter, so that doesn't give away too much. They could still go for a jungler here. They could also go for another farmer and choose to run a dual support strat. Really, they have options, and that's usually the sign of a good draft. When even if you're going to the last pick, you're like, well, I'm not really sure what they're going to go for, but at this point, I'd like to see the Keeper of the Forest, I think. It would pair well with a Plague Rider and Wretched Hag, locking people down with that ultimate. It would give them some push potential, which they don't have too much of at this point. And really, in terms of gank, they're pretty well set up with Wretched Hag and Pestilence already covering that fairly well. So Parasite, a decent enough pick, I think, in this circumstance, but I'd like to see the Keeper a little bit more, run him in the jungle, and then Suicide the Plague, but Pesty, Master of Arms middle, and Solo Bot Hag. It's a bit of a passive early game lineup, especially, except for in the middle lane, excuse me, but no doubt one that is quite powerful and can get going in the mid game and also transition late. So we'll see what happens. But the bans overall making plenty of sense here. Kraken getting removed, of course, by the Hellborn side because of his general versatility. And Legionnaire will be the pick. Alright, that's fine. Ophelia and Solstice already obviously limiting the jungle potential. Legion side banning out Tempest Doctor and Bubbles. So once again, the versatility of Bubbles as well as the short lane potential of Dr. Repulsor. Hellborn side will finish off their draft with Swiftblade and Balfagor. So this could be a Balf jungle strat. I'm not convinced it's going to be, but Balfagor Demented Shaman is a well-known combination The issue is sort of that at this point it doesn't really seem to fit with their laning phase. Swiftblade almost certainly going to be run in that top lane as a dual laner. I think you could certainly tri-lane with Sjol. So they may choose to go for an aggressive or a safe lane tri-lane here, but I don't really like that. I think at this point my preferred option would be to, well, let's see, Suicide the Rally, put Swiftblade Torturer top, jungle the Balfagor, and I guess run Disham mid. You could also mid the Balf and use Balf's minions to jungle with Disham. Actually, that might be a better option. So hopefully, I think that's what we'll see. Sorry, I gotta run auto skip pause here because I always forget that. But obviously, much better than not having it on. Regardless, so Disham, I kind of hope we're going to see him in the woods. At this point, he looks like he's going for mostly support items, so perhaps that's not going to be the case. That'd be a little bit disappointing. If they're not going to do that, I think the tri-lane is definitely the right option here. And we'll see if this... No. Sorry, I might actually have to sneeze here, and I set up a mute microphone button, so that might spare you guys from having to listen to that. So we're going to see a top lane Balfagor at this point, I think. Mid lane Torture, Rally, and Suicide Swiftblade. We've seen Suicide Swiftblade a little bit before as well, particularly in the hands of Jonas Fan. I think it's got potential, but it's more of a niche trick suicide. Now this is a scrim, so obviously there's nothing really on the line here. This is a place where you would experiment. So definitely trying out a Suicide Swiftblade in this situation would not be a bad move at all. I'm just not totally convinced of his viability as a suicide option. The magic immunity is nice, but what else does he do? You know, he's not particularly tanky. He doesn't have an escape mechanism, so is magic immunity, is that enough? Only that? I sort of think no. He really can't even get kills with the spin unless the Legion side horribly misplays, so we'll see what happens, but at this point I'm not a particularly big fan of the Suicide Swiftblade, and actually it looks like they're going to be running the man-up dual lane here, so Rally mid, Torture is going to head back middle. I really don't hope that he doesn't. I'd like to see him bottom this dual lane with Swiftblade, but that's apparently not going to happen. Anyway, Legion side are running Wretched Hag middle, and Master Rums is heading bottom to pair with Pestilence. It's another decision I actually don't like very much. I don't see why you wouldn't run the Hag solo bot and dual mid the Pesty Master Rums combination. It seems like that's much, much more viable in terms of gank potential and things like that. And obviously, being a dual lane against a dual lane, it would be very helpful. Wretched Hag not in too much danger here, of course, because she does have the blink. There are 2 stuns for the Hellborn side, but that's probably not going to be enough to get any kills on her unless she misplays. Up top, meanwhile, Demented Shaman doing the best that he can to box out this Plague Rider and doing a pretty effective job at it. Balfagor, meanwhile, going to free farm here. And I suspect we'll see him spawn minions at some point, send them into the woods with Demented Shaman, and use them to jungle. Obviously, the jungle already being taken over by Legionnaire, as that was their somewhat niche jungle pick I mentioned in the earlier. And Lego definitely a really, really powerful jungler and has plenty of potential to, I think, take off in this role. Sorry, the action going down there, so he's playing a little bit interestingly. He's definitely, Lego's got the capacity to rack up some pretty high GPM, so we'll see what happens with him. But obviously the potential is there, and so is the downside really, as he also has some issues. If he doesn't get off to a good start, he can have some problems. Not having the correct items, not having enough items to really keep himself alive to be able to initiate properly, and then obviously that's going to be a big effect on this Legion side, whether or not Legionnaire is able to get off to the appropriate start. 230 gold per minute at this point, not doing badly at all. Snotter bosses up there will obviously help quite a lot. And interesting that he chose not to stack that camp. Disham looking over here to pull as he's got double stacks. And we'll grab the creeps here, bring them off to the lane, and deny some experience. Meanwhile, Swiftblade in the bottom lane has grabbed some lane control. Obviously, this is not going to be a great situation for him, sitting at 160 GPM compared to Pestilence at 280. And no huge surprise there. Pesty is just a hero that should absolutely dominate the Swiftblade. Obviously, with all of his physical stuff, he doesn't really care about Swiftblade's spin. The damage is kind of annoying, but will be able to lock down Swifty even as he spins. And perhaps yet another reason why he doesn't. That's not a good pick, actually. Mid lane, Dorch tag. No, going to set the bottle once again. And now Legionnaire looking to get the last, and will actually get the kill there onto Dark Sparta. Perhaps looking to turn this onto Torturer. Will not be able to do so, as Retro Tag does not have quite enough health. Word mana, and Legionnaire not enough health to dive there, but nice Bloodlust turnaround there as Hag nearly died, but like I said, very difficult to kill her, even with a double stun. And they do end up getting the Bloodlust on the rally, so nice gank there from Legionnaire. It looks like he's going to transition to his own woods now, as he has made the move. And perhaps we'll be able to pull off some ganks around the Swiftblade in the bottom lane, obviously not caring too much about his spin, since the spins go straight through that, them being physical damage and all. Overall, Legion so far in a slightly advantageous position, and this isn't really good for the Hellborn side. They do have a very strong push lineup, but the Legion have actually a fairly strong anti-push as well. They got Master of Arms, they even got Legionnaire, so all these Balthagor minions are not going to fare particularly well against Lego and all of the spins. Torture going to help take down towers as well. D-Sham going to help out with the pushing, of course. So this is a really formidable push lineup for the Hellborn side, but there's some pretty solid anti-push from the Legion as well, and I'm not sure that strategy is going to be particularly effective for them. But obviously we'll find out. Already pressuring this top tower pretty heavily. And going to draw a port, actually, as Plague Rider drops a nuke down. Legionnaire is here as well, and that's going to be a nice easy kill on D-Sham. Just so many spins thanks to those minions. So this is once again a situation where they're actually helping the Legion side with all these minion auto attacks, and they might actually be able to chase down Balthagor here. He's putting the spray down, trying to live. Gets called once again. Meanwhile, off the side, Torture going to try with the chain reactions and an impalement. Lao Legionnaire's all of a sudden in a ton of trouble. He's going to end up falling to this. Plague Rider should perhaps be a little bit more careful than he is, and that's going to help finish him off. So Dr. Rectum gets a double tap, thanks to that haste rune I believe he had. And obviously the impalement doing so much damage you don't have enough creeps around to absorb it. So nice turnaround there as Legionnaire came in with a good gank, but Torture says, hey, I can do that too. And Balthagor continuing to push this top lane, obviously has the Blood Chalice. This top tower is going to go down despite the use of the glyph. There's just too much push from these minions. So a 5-minute tower kill is going to be really valuable, obviously, as that gives the Hellborn side a pretty substantial gold boost relatively early on. And meanwhile up top here, Legionnaire once again getting the spin off and killing that D-Sham pretty easily. Gonna dive again. We'll see if they can turn this around once more, or if Balthagor is actually going to fall this time. They're continuing to chase. Plague Rider obviously has that high base move speed, very helpful. Uses the call there, and Balson's a lot of trouble. One more auto attack from Plague. Actually, the spin kills him. So all of a sudden now Plague taking a ton of damage. He will be able to get out of there without losing his life, but likely going to have to go back. No, going to pop a health potion instead. 430 gold per minute here on this Legionnaire, as he's doing extremely well. 4-1-0. And this is going to become a problem for the Hellborn side. I'm already really concerned about their chances in this game, just because, A, the Legion side have the late game. Swiftblade's a really, really powerful carry, but he's not going to out-carry Hag, Pestilence, and Legionnaire. Balthagor's not going to do too much in late game. Rally not powerful either. Torture going to drop some chain reactions and an impalement onto Master of Arms here. He's in a lot of trouble. Puts the slow down onto Swiftblade, but one more auto attack will finish him off. Actually, they get it to BP Factory. Meanwhile, up top here, once again, we get a kill, as D-Shem is going to get charged, called, and ulted. So, man, just not enough health in that D-Shem. 568 health, and that kills it, what, 400? 300 health. So if he's below half, he's instantly dead. I really need to make these tooltips more helpful, because, man, there's so much information there. Pestilence, meanwhile, could be in some trouble down here as Rally comes in. Is level 6, so has access to Seismic Slam. There it is, on top of the spin, and that's a nice gank. Okay, grab the kill on the bug. Lego going to draw the port here, but he won't be able to do too much considering that it's a 3-on-1 at this point. We'll be able to clean up some farm down here, though, in the meantime. Master trying to use his goo to drag the pull here, but only grabs the archer. That was a clever tactic there. Not quite as effective as one might hope, but considering the timing, not bad at all. Word of Sight obviously here spots out all of these creeps, and looks like Legionnaire's just going to clean up this farm. They're going, alright, screw this, you don't need it. Torture is trying to steal this. Agonizing Bonds will get 3, actually the chain reactions, as he doesn't have Agonizing Bonds, so it's pretty hard for him to use that ability. Legionnaire nonetheless going to clean up most of those creeps. And top lane once again getting pushed down. Secondary tower here is already half dead thanks to Balthazar and his minions. So the push is strong with this one. There's a fake Torturer, I believe, yeah. And this is also the real ones going back to base. Mid lane Rally getting some free farm, as that's quite welcome. He's at 300 GPM here compared to Reshtag, also 300 GPM, but obviously, actually Reshtag and Rally at the same level somehow. And about the same experience minute. Rally even taking a bit of a lead there. So despite the 2v1, Rally doing not bad at all on, or Hag actually not doing bad on farm, but Rally not doing bad on experience. They're going to count out Torture here, but obviously that's a fake, and they're going to realize that relatively quickly. But in the bottom lane, I'm already missing kills, as Master Arms gets caught out by Swifty, and that's a nice kill. So the Suicide Swiftblade's at 300 GPM. Not bad at all. Meanwhile, up top, actually, Plague Rider will get spotted by Rally, who does have a Seismic Slam, and that will help finish him off along with Demoralizing Roar. Nice solo kill there from Rally, and all of a sudden the Hellborn side picking up a couple of kills and taking the hero kill advantage as well as the gold lead. Experience still in favor of the Legion team, no doubt partially because of that Legionnaire. Hag looking for a kill here. Bat Blast will connect, and that'll be a nice cleanup onto Torture. So Hag evens up the hero kill scores at 6 apiece. Bottom lane, meanwhile, Bugs are on Swiftblade, but won't be anything there. Top lane Legionnaire looking for yet another kill. Disham taking all sorts of damage and the Decapitate. Balthazar perhaps next on the list spawns the minions. Going to try to slow him down maybe, but obviously the spins are a bit of a problem. Haunt goes down from Wretched Hag, and Plague Rider is here as well. We'll see if Balthazar can actually get out of this. He's slowed down by the Haunt, but the rest of the Legion side is not particularly quick here. Obviously, Balthazar having those plated greaves helping him out. Now he's going to try to turn this around. Legionnaire really low, but getting the spins out. Hell on North will finish him off. And Bal's still alive somehow. Also finishes off Hag and Plague Rider. Pestilence with a flight active should be able to get a kill here as the sun goes down when we're auto attack. Will finish him off. So nice turn there, but a humiliation obviously. As the Legion side no doubt figured, man, Bal's so low, at least one of us will get him. It's a 3-on-1, but the Hell on North doing so much damage. And just completely wrecking the Legion side. Excellent turnaround there from Mr. Balthazar. Mid lane Disham looking to pick up some farm here as he is in the secondary support role. Or even the primary support, maybe. I don't know. He's at 140 GPM. 0-4-0, so not having a great time here. Looking for a little bit of love. Has the boots and gloves of haste, so steam boots, it would appear, is the next item on the list for him. Torture, meanwhile, sitting on just a power supply and regular booties. Obviously keeping up the ward situation pretty good. Word of Sight here, Word of Rev here, Word of Sight here, Word of Sight here, so no doubt, Word of Rev here too, for that matter. No doubt the vision, very helpful, as Torture has made that his primary goal. Balthazar going for the Greaves on top of the Ring of the Teacher, as he's looking to increase the potency of his minions, of course. Abyssal Skull would not be surprising if that is the next item on the list. Swiftblade, for his part, has gone the Ghost Marchers here. We're looking for a kill on Hag. Seismic Slam is going to connect on top of the chain reactions, and that's going to be a nice, easy kill. Hag locked down for way too long to grab a blink and get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, bottom lane spinning the on Master Arms once again, and he's going to fall. So Master just getting eaten alive here really by the Swiftblade. That's at least a couple of times we've seen him get caught out by Swifty. And he needs to stop doing that, because Swiftblade's 4-0-0 at 340 gold per minute as a suicide. Legionnaire might also be in some trouble, we'll see. Torture also coming off the side, but a Ward of Sight spotted him out, so Lego will be looking to run away. Flight active from Pestilence, and actually they might be looking to turn this around. Swift Slashes is available. So Swiftblade, not really sure if he wants to go in or not. He's got more support coming in here in Rally. He's going to pick up the regen rune, but it's obviously the Word of Sight continuing to provide plenty of vision for the Legion side. Swiftblade running in once again, and gonna start attacking here on this Legionnaire. Nope. Will run away. Just becoming more of a nuisance more than anything else. I would suspect he'd like to spin on those creeps. Get some kills. Meanwhile, up top here, Balthagor and Disham will run away as they deny the top tower. So obviously, another tower kill going in favor of the Hellborn side. Portal Key Rebel on Rally already looking to pick up kill on Wretched Hag here. Chain reactions do hit. And she had a blink available, but chose not to use it, probably figuring that they would just chase her down and kill her. But the option A was stand and die, and the option B was blink and die. Probably going to go for number 2. At least it gives you a chance to get away.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion
And that'll be a
tower.
mid tower as well. So Hellborn really taking a pretty substantial golden experience lead here as they take down 3 towers as well. They're up 12 to 8 in hero kills, and the push strats are working. I think, nope. Portal Key on Pestilence, looking to jump in here, gets a couple, but the Hell on North is going to start finishing people off. Plague Rider bounces are being eaten by the Balthagor creeps, and not doing really a lot of damage at all. Twisted Fusion in a pretty serious amount of trouble at this point. As the mid push continues, and Hag jumping in the background for some reason. That was a terrible decision. Basically just fed himself.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion
It's going to
tower.
be another second tier tower kill. And the Hellborn will back off, content with a 9.5k gold lead and a 7.5k experience lead. I think a lot of this really has to go to the Swiftblade, man. He's been doing amazingly well. Second highest farm in the game as a Suicide Swiftblade, 400 GPM. And he's 5-0-3, so that's just amazing. CS score here, 49-6 compared to Pesty at 80-20. So obviously not nearly as many creep kills as Pestilence, but he's right up there with Legionnaire. He's right up there with Wretched Hag, and he's much, much higher than the opposing Suicide and Plague Rider. So that's some pretty impressive stuff there from the Suicide Swifty. So maybe I was a little bit hesitant at the beginning, saying I'm not sure that this was going to work out, but clearly I've been proven wrong. I mean, it worked for BMG, but Jonas is Jonas, so what works for them is not necessarily guaranteed to work for everybody else, especially for a team like Sjol, which is not exactly in the highest tier. Last tier 1 tower for the Legion will fall. They're trying to counter push a little bit on top, but not finding it particularly effective. As again, their pushing potential is somewhat limited. They're much more focused on anti-push than they are on push. And the anti-push so far has not been very successful, considering they've already lost 5 towers in 15 minutes. So they get their first tower kill, going to open up some control of the Hellborn jungle, obviously very advantageous in that respect. Kongor, though, is going to be the focus of the Hellborn side, as they've got 3, now 4 heroes working on it already. And this should be a pretty easy hero kill. Astrolabe is picked up on Disham, notable there, as Disham currently sitting at 250 GPM, Torture at 285, going for a push book on top of the Steam Boots. Balthagor has finished his Abyssal Skull as well, as sitting on 1500 gold here, 3k on Swiftblade. So we'll see what he jumps, but Assassin Shroud? I don't know, for some reason I'm feeling the Assassin Shroud here. Nope, he bought something. Or it's going to be a Nullfire Blade. Okay. That's fine. Obviously providing a very effective slow and some mana burn for heroes that are largely mana dependent too on the Legion side. There goes a Nullfire, but Pesty going to jump in with a double stun. Bat Blast hits 2, stops the Decapitate there, but they're first going to get a kill onto this Pestilence. And nice spread there from the Plague Rider ultimate. They will take the token away from Swiftblade, but he's going to obviously come right back up. They're trying to port here. Swift Slashes are available, but they're not going to be used. Meanwhile, up top, Wretched Hag getting TP away as he blinks into the trees, so they decide losing Pestilence in exchange for the token. Not the worst trade in the world, as it's going to prevent the Hellborn side from just brazenly pushing into the base, I think, at this point. At the same time, losing Pestilence is not the greatest thing in the world. And I'm on board with this Nullfire Blade. Pretty underrated item, and there are a bunch of heroes in the Legion side that do not have a lot of mana and are extremely dependent on it. Pestilence and Legionnaire being the most obvious, as they have a bunch of activatable spells and spammable spells they like to use multiple times in team fights. And with that Nullifier Blade draining all sorts of mana, it's going to be much, much more difficult. Master of Arms, though, another one that's a little bit underrated in terms of how mana dependent he can be. Obviously, the Charge Shot and Fork Lightning are powerful, powerful abilities. And at 390 base mana and very little regen, thanks to the fact that he's a support, doesn't even have boots yet, which is ugly. It's going to be very difficult for him to turn this into the regular ability to use mana in team fights if he gets jumped by that Swift Blade, although, to be fair, he's probably just going to be dead anyway, so... Whatever. Meantime, Balthagor has finished up his Shaman's Headdress. Of course, Rally has a portal key on top of a Soul's Bulwark. On the Legion side, we've got a Helm of the Black Legion on Legionnaire. So his initial extremely good farm is now down to 320 gold per minute, not looking quite as adept at that. Perhaps looking for a portal key next. I can't imagine that wouldn't be his next item. And about 1,000 gold away from it, so he should have it in the next few minutes. Pestilence already has his portal key on top of Steam Boots, so he's got some initiation potential as well. They're going to have to be careful, of course, to not stack the taunt on top of the stun from Pesty, but shouldn't be too complicated. Wretched Hag sitting on Steam Boots, Power Supply, Blood Chalice, which is interesting, and Bottle. So apparently feeling like he's got some pretty serious mana issues, because the Blood Chalice Bottle interaction is quite nice. Obviously, it steals your health and gives you mana. And so if you've got plenty of health and very little mana, Blood Chalice plus Bottle Charges basically steals your health, but then gives it right back, as well as gives you a ton of mana. So I would suspect that's what Wretched Hag is looking for, and at only 213 gold per minute, she's not particularly close to a Grimoire of Power if that's what she's going for. I would actually prefer something along the lines of maybe a Hellflower, maybe a Sheepstick. I mean, that'd be a ways off, but would obviously be extremely powerful. Shrunken Head, not going to be super valuable in these fights, but could also work. And Hellborn kill the last outer tower of the Legions, while the Legion take down the top secondary. They're also pushing middle, and this should die to creeps, as the next wave is fairly far away. In the meantime, though, they have to defend the bottom lane, considering Balthagor is already all up in their base. Sorry, not Legionnaire, Balthagor. Goo coming down from Master of Arms. I'm not sure if that's hitting everything. No, it's not hitting the creeps at the end of this, so they will pop the glyph to stop the creeps from killing the tower. But that's only going to be temporary. All sorts of minions going down here. Balthagor taking a ton of damage, gets compelled away. Tower will be denied.
Ain't nobody killing that tower but me.
And we'll see if the Hellborn continue to push this, having taken the base tower already. I guess it looks like they're feeling content. Jump there by Legionaries. He does have the portal key, but Swiftblade just going to run away. Chain Reaction's helping him out. Pestilence with a secondary jump. And we'll see if that turns around on him. Yep, so slashes are there. That's going to be a first kill off the bat. Nullifier Blade also goes onto Legionnaire. He's going to get spun on. Hell on North also comes out. Compel onto 3. They kill Wretched Hag immediately, and Plague Rider falls just after, so that was a bit of a misplay from the Legion side. And this is going to be Rax. There is a buyback on Wretched Hag, but that's it, and there's no way they can stop this. We might even see the mid Tier 3 tower fall at this point.
Legion barracks has been destroyed.
Master of Arms skill accomplishing absolutely nothing. So we'll see where they choose together. Let's go and report back to base. So choosing to take the safe route, obviously. Not interested in continuing to push. Gongor should be back up relatively soon, so we'll see if they choose to go for that. In the meantime, I'm going to clear out the Legion side jungle, of course, as is typical. Trying to take as many resources away from this team as possible, and Twisted Fusion's really in a bad spot right now. Down 15k in both gold and experience, closer to 16k actually, as well as one lane. And we're 21 minutes into the game. It's going to be very difficult for them to recover. They just aren't getting the space they need to pick up farm on a few heroes that need a few items. Obviously Legionnaire and Wretched Hag being chief among them. As Pestilence, once he has his portal key, he's more or less capable of fighting. Rally gonna get caught out here by Wretched Hag. We'll see if this actually turns into anything. Not so much. Compel away and he'll be fine. Bottom lane, Balthagor picks up a haste rune. And we'll scurry on out of their top lane. Archer is pushing it in, 300 GPM for him, 300 GPM for this Demented Shaman, and you just look at the farm on the Hellborn side, and that's ridiculous. Legion are the only one who's outfarming anybody in the Hellborn team. The rest of the Legion side just sitting and sort of wallowing in their poverty. And they're pretty afraid to go out by themselves, obviously, as the warding situation is not really in their favor. A lot of aggressive wards coming out from the Hellborn side. And they're focused mostly around Kongor here for the Legion and just don't have a ton of vision whatsoever. Obviously, pretty much everything in this bottom river area. No vision in the opposing team's jungle or the top river, and very little in their own woods. So, obviously, the gank potential is quite strong from the Hellborn side, considering how aggressive their wards are and how limited the Legion side's vision is. And that's when things are bad. When your team's short laner is portal keying away from the opposing team's support, it's usually not working out so well. Ancient's going to be stolen here as well. They were double stacked, I believe. Compel forward there on the Hag, not going to catch her, and she will be able to blink. It'd be just fine. Swiftblade picking up a Firebrand, so perhaps going to see a Dawnbringer there. Wouldn't be surprising. Balfagor has finished off his barrier idol, and that will, of course, continue to improve the pushing potential of the Legion side, making Master's Acid pretty much completely ineffective. Rally looking to pick up a Staff from the Master here, as he has the Glowstone. Pushbook is finished on Torture, along with the Ring of Sorcery, so that'll help out Balf, obviously, with his heavy mana usage. Sackstone on Demented Shaman as well. Or is that physical? Yeah, it's physical. It's not magical. What am I even talking about? Jump there by Legionnaire onto Balfagor, but he just gets compelled away. D-Sham's ultimate goes down, and Balf's looking to re-engage here, but will not, in fact, go out. And they're going to back up. Obviously... Sorry, I believe there's a freaking doorbell going off in the background. Give me a... I'm going to pause this and see what happens. So, yes, as it turned out, there was a doorbell going off in the background, and I have since taken care of that problem. And whatever things are happening right now, Legionnaire going to jump in onto a bunch, compel away from Balfour once again, though. As they're basically just continually doing this. They're going to throw a silence there as well. So, what was but moments for you was several minutes for me. And I'm sure you don't care very much. I have to turn auto skip pause back on because I need to restart on because all sorts of crap, it doesn't matter. Anyway, game's back. So, Legion side, or Hellborn side, excuse me, once again, continually pushing in this top lane. Very difficult to deal with. They are going to get the tower now. Legion are going to jump once again onto Balfagor. Batblast goes off onto pretty much nobody, it seemed like. Emerald ate it. Plague Rider only going off in the background, though, but the first one they're going to kill is Legionnaire. Right after that, Plague Rider going to fall, and Swift Slashes are going off like crazy. Off to the side here, Wretched Hag looking to clean up a kill, but will not be able to find one, so Hellborn lose nobody. They kill both Lego and Plague Rider. They'll take that tower down. The rest of the Legion side, meanwhile, has to come back and heal in the well, and the bottom lane, meanwhile, is pushing into everything, so this is going to be a second pair of racks. Almost certainly no buyback available on either Plague or Legionnaire. Although for Plague it doesn't matter all that much, no ultimate, not super useful, but Lego could be very helpful here. Nonetheless, that will be a Rex, and 2 lanes are now down.
A Legion barracks has been
and
destroyed.
At this point, I see no comeback available. Unless the Hellborn basically just stop playing this game. Kongor is back up, and no doubt that will be a focus, as they're looking to get another token. It doesn't seem possible at this point that the Legion side will be able to pull this out. They've got top streaming in, they've got bottom streaming in, their base has already taken some pretty serious damage, losing a bunch of buildings down here, and the defense towers are under attack. Meanwhile, Kongor's going down, and the Legion side appears to know about this, as they're sort of heading over as a group. The question is, can they do anything? And in my estimation, no, they cannot. Ultimates are down for both Balf and Swifty, which is nice, but Plague Rider is still sitting on 15 seconds for his. Hag needs 30. Meanwhile, off the side, Legion are going to get caught up by the Seismic Slam and the spin. Just nothing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a CC vote coming out right about now.
Kongor has been slain.
As there goes Kongor, and Swifty going to pick up the token. Because, hey, why not? And I'm just like, hey, we can get Mega Creeps. So, we'll see. But yeah, Legion apparently feeling like they're still in this game. I'm not really sure why, because they're absolutely not. The resources are massively in favor of the Hellborn side, and the kill score isn't providing any illusions. Kongor has fallen, so they know they've got a token. They know they're 2 lanes down. I don't see where the Legion side is going. Yeah, we can come back. Master of Arms is level 6. He's level 6, people. Master of Arms is level 6. He's got boots now. That's good. That's nice for him. But he's level 6. Rowley's level 16. I think it's pretty safe to say that Master of Arms is not having a good time. Creeps obviously continuing to come in through the bottom lane, and they're going to have to repeatedly address that issue as the Hellborn just non-stop push into the base, and obviously emboldened by a token on Swiftblade. It's like, yeah, I'll go in there, take some tower hits, but more importantly, just continually smack this tower. Balthor minions doing the same. Jump there by Legionnaire onto Dimension Shaman, looking for something, but won't find it. As the Torture Impalement's going down as well. Jump there by Rich Dag. Actually, did get the Bat Blast into a couple, but that's going to be responded on very quickly. Swiftblade going down with the spins, kills Pestilence. Also Rich Dag with the Swift Slashes. Rally looking for the Seismic Slam, will kill Legionnaire with it, and that's a 3 for nothing. Here comes all of a sudden Plague Rider's looking in a lot of troubles, and Melfire and Frostburn slowing him down to a crawl. 4 for nothing. That level 6 Master of Arms is gonna save them. Nope. So, no huge surprise there after they started taking all of the towers and all of the racks that the Hellborn were going to pull out a win in this one, but very well played to them. They had a strategy and they executed it. They're like, let's push, let's team fight, and that's what they did. We see, to a disturbing degree, push and team fight oriented lineups that do neither of those things and then lose games, and then they're like, well, why did we lose? Well, because your lineup did something and you didn't do it right. You didn't do it. So, props to the Hellborn side for picking a lineup that had a goal and had a plan, and then executing that plan instead of just ignoring it. But we'll see how Twisted Fusion can come back in Game 2, and the first game will go to the guys on Sjol, Sjolopimperne.